What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today I want to get into a couple of topics. We'll get into the training camp recap later in the afternoon, but wanted to come on with you this morning and discuss two things with the New York Jets, and both kind of have to do with the wide receiver room. So the first is, as we know, Xavier Gipson's unfortunately going to miss some time. We covered that earlier or at the end of last week. But what I did want to mention was how that impacts the rest of the wide receivers. Naturally, some would assume Malachi Corley would come in and play there, and more on Malachi Corley in a little bit. But something that I noticed was that Malik Taylor received an opportunity. So Taylor received some snaps with the first team. He had a receiving touchdown in the red zone. It was like a 5-yard slant that he caught from Aaron Rodgers. And he also had a big catch from Tyrod Taylor, which, yes, that's the second team, but he was kind of thrown up. It was at least a 50-yard pass. It was a bomb. And he went up and made the play. It was a little underthrown from Tyrod Taylor. But I guess my question is, are we forgetting him? I feel like when discussing the Jets wide receiver room, Malik Taylor's never really a name that comes up a lot. Xavier Gipson, Jason Brownlee, Irv Charles. The debate usually seems to be between guys like Irv Charles making it because of his special teams ability, and also Jason Brownlee because of what he did in training camp last year, how he's kind of similar to Mike Williams stylistically, and if that might make sense for him to make the roster, and his acrobatic plays that get put on display. But maybe we aren't giving Malik Taylor enough credit. And if you're not really all that familiar with Malik Taylor, he's the one who had the big play in the Hall of Fame game last year from Zach Wilson.
Throw it to Malik. No, it's going to Malik.
Has time, floats a bomb down the left sideline, drops it in.
Yeah, Malik!
Aaron Rodgers called that one. He was correct to call that play. He did not play in that preseason game. Only saw him in the Giants game, but he was saying, throw it to Malik. And guess what? He was wide open. Zach Wilson hit him. It was a really exciting play. I was in attendance for it. It was a great time. But moral of the story, my question for you is, are we forgetting Malik Taylor? And we'll see if at practice later today, when the pads come on, if Malik Taylor continues to trend in that direction, or if it was a flash in the pan practice. This stuff happens, but once again, I kind of just wanted to bring it up and talk about it because Malik Taylor was someone who I thought had a strong performance on Friday. Okay, the second thing that I wanted to get into, I mentioned it earlier, Malachi Corley. Is he going to be kind of taking over that slot role? And honestly, I think you can make a case with just how they've played so far in training camp that the Jets may very well go Mike Williams and Allen Lazard on the outside with Garrett Wilson in the slot and the inside a lot. But moral of the story, I hope that we see Malachi a decent amount. But I think my question is, did the Jets kind of hint at what their usage for Malachi Corley is going to be? Notice on this touchdown catch from the other day, it was a pass to Garrett Wilson, where Malachi Corley was lined up. If you missed it, Malachi Corley is lined up at the running back spot in the backfield. I hope this is something that they do in game. Now, they could kind of line him up all over the offense. He's going to be a very gadget player. Every time I say that, I think of Inspector Gadget, the Go-Go Gadget. But something that he didn't really do a whole lot of at Western Kentucky was line up in the backfield, but I think that's a really interesting role for him. He did it 37 times over 4 years. Again, that's not a ton. That's a lot of games played that he had over that time, but out of like 2,000 something snaps, he only did it 37 times. So is that something he's comfortable with? That might be something that grows on him, but Deebo Samuel, who he always gets compared to, it's not like he was lining up in the backfield a ton. That's kind of something that Kyle Shanahan came up with when he came into the league, and it's a copycat league, and I think that the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett and Todd Downing, that whole crew of guys should be like, hey, let's utilize this guy and use him all over the field, including in the backfield. He is a big boy. He's not afraid to block. I think he could fit in that role. I'm not saying line him up there exclusively, but that's something that I think he can handle and would be an interesting way to get him on the field, because Saleh noted earlier, last week, that he's really not quite up to par yet with his route running, which again is not really surprising. That's not his strong suit. He's kind of, the yak king or yak god. get him the ball in space and let him do his thing. So he's never going to be a pristine route runner like a Garrett Wilson, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, any of those names who are some of the better route runners in football. But can he still be a productive player for you and a role player for you? Absolutely. And I think this is a good way for them to do that. So that's going to do it for me in this video, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, I am Matt O'Leary. Catch you guys next time.